Ain't got no way I'm gonna make it without my Lord, no. Ain't got no way I'm gonna make it without my Lord, no. Ain't got no way I'm gonna make it without my Lord, no. There ain't. There ain't got no way I'm gonna make it without my Lord, no. Ain't got no way I'm gonna make it without my Lord, no. Ain't got no way I'm gonna make it without my Lord, no. There ain't got no way I'm gonna make it without my Lord, no. Ain't got no way I'm gonna make it without my Lord, no. Ain't got no way I'm gonna make it without my Lord, no. There ain't got no way I'm gonna make it without my Lord, no. Ain't got no way I'm gonna make it without my Lord, no. Ain't got no way I'm gonna make it without my Lord, no. There ain't got no way I'm gonna make it without my Lord, no. Ain't got no way I'm gonna make it without my Lord, no. Ain't got no way I'm gonna make it without my Lord, no. There ain't got no
Wow.
There ain't got no way I'm gonna make it without my Lord, no. Ain't got no way I'm gonna make it without my Lord, no. Ain't got no way I'm gonna make it without my Lord, no. There ain't got no way.
Ooh.
There ain't got no way, ain't got no way I'm gonna make it without my Lord, no. Ain't got no way I'm gonna make it without my Lord, no. Ain't got no way I'm gonna make it without my Lord, no. There ain't got no way, ain't got no way I'm gonna make it without my Lord, no. Ain't got no way I'm gonna make it without my Lord, no. Ain't got no way I'm gonna make it without my Lord, no. There ain't got no way, ain't got no way I'm gonna make it without my Lord, no. Ain't got no way I'm gonna make it without my Lord, no. Ain't got no way I'm gonna make it without my Lord, no. There ain't got no way, ain't got no way I'm gonna make it.
Good afternoon, all. Thank you all for joining us this evening. We're having a little technical difficulties with Andy Charles, but he should be joining us shortly. Yeah, so today we are going to talk a little about mental health. And the theme for today is mental health and the challenge of mindset. And we're going to have a special guest who is going to be with us shortly as well. His name is Gary Chubik, and he will be discussing a little bit about that topic. So feel free to join us, and we welcome you. We welcome each and every one of you this evening here for breaking out of depression. We thank you for having us here, even here. So let us open in a word of prayer as we wait until Brother Andy could join us back. Heavenly Father, God, we come before you tonight, God, and we thank you, God, for this time that we could come in your presence, God. We pray even now, God, as we lift this session before you and this program. I pray, God, that you would touch, God, us and even the speaker, even right now, God. I pray, that God, that you would use us, God, to extend, God, whatever is needed, God, for the listening ears. I pray even right now that you, God, those who are on the live right now, those who may be struggling even right now, God, with mental health issues, God, we pray, God, that this program, God, will bring enlightenment, God. It will bring the essential tools, the resources that is needed even right now, God. I pray even right now, God, that you would cover them with your blood. I pray even right now, Jesus, God, that as we will go into this time, that you would be lifted up, God. Touch even our guest speaker as he would come out, God, and he would share of his knowledge and of his expertise. I pray even right now, God, that you would give him, God, all the wisdom and knowledge that is needed to extend the right words and the right information to your people, God. I declare even right now, God, that you have your divine way, God. Cover us, God, and cover each and every person that will be joining us tonight. In your holy and precious name I pray. Amen. Hallelujah. So let's see if Andy is ready to join us or if he's still having a little technical difficulties. All right, so he's here with us. But Andy? Yes.
Yeah, I'm trying. Let me see my.
We are hearing
Yeah.
you. Are you still having technical difficulties? But Andy? All right, it seems as though he's still having a little difficulty still logging in. So we could go into the scripture for this session. I could ask if they threw it up. It's going to be from John chapter 1, verse 2. The King James Version, it says, Beloved, I wish above all things that thou mayest prosper and be in health, even as thy soul prosper. That's our scripture for the session. As we will continue to talk about mental health, we pray even right now, God, that as this scripture would be our highlights, it will be what we would talk about. We pray that this year that we be intentional. I want to just kind of encourage persons this year that we be intentional when it comes to our life. Normally, we just sometimes we have revolutions. Everybody has revolutions at the beginning of the year, but during the year, sometimes it falters somewhere. We forget about it, or other things come up. But I want to ask and to urge you all to be intentional in the things that you may set out to do this year. Don't let it, don't let it just be a thought in your mind, and you say, you know what, I want to do this. I want to achieve this and not be intentional in what you do. So what I would advise you all to do is actually put those things on a piece of paper. Everything that you have and you desire to do, the things that you may be holding back since 5 years ago, 10 years ago, and you keep saying, okay, next year I'll do this, next year I'll do this, and then it comes and you never achieve it. Be intentional this year. Write down the stuff that you have and choose to do the things that you set out to do. Sometimes we tend to extend ourselves on the outside in our work, in our schools, in our job places, in our family life, and we sometimes neglect ourselves. We neglect the things that we may have to do. And there's nothing wrong with doing the things that you may like to do. It's putting you first is always a priority, because if you can't put yourself first, then you can't extend yourself for others. So as your host today, my name is Gabriella Woods. I just want to tell you all that be intentional this year. Be intentional in everything that you have to do, and also be realistic. A lot of times we may put plans into perspective, and we may say, okay, I want to attain this in a month time, but impossible. It might be impossible because we may not have the finances, we may not have the resources. So I would like to urge you all to be intentional this year. Write down your plans, write down your goals, and as you would go through the days and the weeks, and as things would unfold, celebrate the small wins, celebrate the small things that you may achieve until you get closer and closer to your target. Yeah. So I hope that that resonates with someone out there who may be looking and saying, you know what, this year I need to be a little more intentional in what I have to do, whether it be my spiritual life, whether it be in my emotions, whether it have to be my physical, my mindset, my mental health. I am going to be intentional. I am no longer going to be bogged down. I am no longer going to let the things that everything environmental, everything that is social hold me back from what I have to do. So I hope that really resonates with someone this evening. Make sure that you ensure that your mental health is the top priority. Yeah. So let's see if Brother Andy could join us at this time, or if he's still having a little technical difficulties. Brother Andy? It seems as though he's still unable to log in with us this evening. All right, so let me give you a little backdrop about our guest speaker, Mr. Gary Chubik. Right, he's Andy. Are you hearing us? Okay. So we'll just go forward into a little a little backdrop of our guest speaker, Mr. Gary Chubik. He is internationally recognized as one of the top mental performances coach in the world. Gary unlocks performances in professional teams, athletes, business professionals, and those wanting to find their next level in performance. Gary's unique methods and process are unprecedented in the sports and business world and things out the very best in each and every one of his clients. Gary is an international speaker, writer, professional member of the Association of Applied Sports Psychology, certified professional leadership coach through the ICF, which is the International Coaching Federation, and he's an ordained minister of 27 years and a chaplain of the Seattle Thunderbirds for 7 years. Gary's clients list include players, coaches, and executive firms from the Houston, Texas, Washington Huskers, Idaho Vandals, Stanford University, USA Figure Skating, Seattle Mariners, Limitless Minds, Russell Wilson's company, Houston, Texas. Gary is one of the very popular performance coach, and he's worked with high performers in business from Microsoft as well, the FBI, Amazon, just to name a few. Right, he's a very professional coach and leader. So we would be welcoming him soon into our session around in the next 10 minutes. So you can look forward to hearing a little bit more about his area of expertise. And we would also leave the floor open coming down to the end of the session where you could have any questions that you may have that you may want to find out from him. You know, if you are uncertain about the discussions that we will have and the questions that we may pose, you can feel free at the end to where we would open up the floor and you could have that discussion or ask any questions that you may have. So we will be welcoming Gary Chupik shortly. Hallelujah. Is Andy ready to come back on? Or is he still having difficulties? All right, so he seems that he's off. So we could have the thought of the week. If it is, that could be thrown up. The thought of this week. And there it is. Only the brave of heart gains the experience, but the faint-hearted just sees the evidence. Yeah? I would read it one more time. Only the brave of heart gains the experience, but the faint-hearted just sees the evidence. And that is so true. You know, sometimes you may hear the phrase, everything is some things that we may try to achieve and try to do. We may say, this is not really faint of heart, but those who actually take that step in boldness, those who actually step out and put aside their fears and put aside, what they think they may not be able to do, and they go out and they do it, then you see, okay, they are the ones who would gain the experience. They are the ones who would learn and would understand from a different perspective as compared to those who maybe like, I don't think I'm able, and it all boils down to their mindset, and sometimes the negative mindset may trump the positives, and sometimes it may cause us to think, what, when those negative thoughts come in, we may say, what, I don't think I'm able to do it. I don't think I'm capable. I'm not bold enough. I'm not strong enough. I can't do this. But those are the times where you need to actually rise up and be like, what, I'm not going to let the negative overpower me. I'm not going to let the negative, trump the positives. If you speak more positivity and you change the way you think, your mindset, You change that negative mindset into something positive, and you say, you know what? I can do this and I will do this. You know what? I'm not going to let the negative come and cause us to be bogged down. I'm not going to let the negative come and cause me not to achieve, cause me not to propel forward, cause me not to go and do the things that I desire and that I dream of. So as we read the scripture one more time, only the brave of heart gains the experience, but the faint hearted just sees the evidence. Yeah. So I hope that even as our guest speaker would join us shortly, that we understand that our mindset shift is needed, that our mindsets sometimes need to be shifted so that we could propel and we can overcome the challenges that may come our way. Yeah, and our mental health also is of top priority. A lot of times we know that in our sweet island, mental health is something that there's a stigma behind it. People think when we talk about mental health and we talk about mindset shift and we talk about positivity, a lot of people they shy away from the conversation. But the reality is there are so many people in our country that is going through so much. If we look at the news, we look at everything that is happening on social media, it continues to display that a lot of persons are struggling with mental health. It continues to show that, persons are at the end of the day going through something. But what makes the difference is that, or what is happening is persons are not coming out and talking. They're not finding that solace in people that they could trust. They're not talking to their family members. They're not allowing persons to know what is happening in their minds. And that's where the negativity may come in and it may overcome and it may overpower their life. So I want to encourage those who are struggling with mental health. And mental health doesn't only cover things like depression, it's so many other things could happen within the mind. And there is so much things there that could seep in and cause us to think negative, to do things that are wrong. So I want to encourage those who are listening and tuning into our session and our program this evening, that you put your mental health first, that you reach out to someone. If you don't have a family member or you don't have a friend who you could confide in and that you trust, please seek professional help. There are so many persons that are out there, including myself, as I am in the counseling arena, right? I also do counseling and mentorship. I'd like to encourage you all. I see so many persons are going through so much in their life, trauma. They're going through so much things with their families, so much things with their personal life. I encourage you all. Do not let the things of the world, do not let your challenges overcome you. There are persons out here who are willing to help and to be that listening ear that you need. So I hope that this encourages someone out there. Hi, Andy.
Hi, can you hear me at all? I'm speaking. I know I'm speaking, but I'm not seeing the cursor for my volume, so I know that you're probably not hearing me at even as I
Yeah,
speak at this time.
we are hearing you and
You're
seeing
hearing
you.
me
Yes,
and you're seeing me. I'm
yes. It's just that
frozen.
it's frozen, but we are hearing you.
Oh my lord. Okay. Okay, so I'm not comfortable with this. I don't know why the technology is doing what it's doing, and I'm hearing a slight echo.
Okay, we are not hearing. Well, I'm not hearing an echo on my end.
Okay. It's
Yeah,
frozen. Yeah, maybe I should just take my camera off and just focus on audio.
if that's what works for now.
All right. I will disable my cam. Are you still hearing me?
Yes.
Okay. So I hope that Gary comes on soon and that we can get this thing going because I'm really kind of disappointed with the fact that we couldn't start off in the manner that we were supposed to, but we are on and we are live, and there are people, hopefully, in the audience that are waiting for us to continue to present the information and the knowledge that makes a difference.
Yes.
I just want to thank those who are on and who would have joined us even for the replay. Last week, Tuesday, we couldn't come on because we had other matters to attend to. And we apologize for the fact that we did not continue with the live show for the second episode of season 3. But we promised that we would make up to you because we have to keep this love affair going.
Yes.
And we would ensure that we continue to bring you quality people with quality content and information that can definitely put a positive spin on your lives and make an impact that is inspirational and transformational. We want to change lives, we want to impact lives with the help of God. Of course, we can't do it by ourselves, and with the help of those who would be coming on as well as the experts, including Gary.
Yeah.
And I was very impressed by his portfolio. He is world renowned. He's been in the business for quite a long time, and he's worked with a lot of winners and champions, and he understands the challenges, the mental challenge and the mindset challenge that people have to face on a daily basis. So I can hardly wait, despite the challenge of the technology, that he would come on and we could bring some level of decency to the show and give the people, our supporters, and those who would see this later on as well, view it and hear it, something of value as we look to kick off season 3, this being the third edition. So I see Gary is here. Yeah, I see our guest is here.
Yeah.
I can hear Gary.
Yes,
Yes,
we
I
can
can hear
hear.
you.
Yes. Yeah, unfortunately.
We can see you as well. Okay, so we I'm just gonna go through the introduction one more time, and then we're gonna ask the producer to bring him up on the screen so that we can have the conversation going. So Gary Chupik is internationally recognized as one of the top performers in professional tennis, and his unique methods and process are unprecedented in the sports and business worlds and brings out the very best in each client. He's an international speaker, writer, professional member of the Association of Applied Sport Psychology, certified professional leadership coach through the ICF, and ordained minister of 27 years and chaplain of the Seattle Thunderbirds for 7 years. There is so much more, but I'd love at this moment to just bring him on live and we can have an interesting and deep and inspiring conversation with this world renowned expert as he comes on live on the program. Oh, there he is.
Yes, I'm here.
Gary, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Okay, great. So I want to introduce you to my co-host, Gabriella Woods. You probably can see her. You will not be seeing me for a time because we're having some technical difficulties with my camera. Um, But I will give her the opportunity to start the interview, and then I will come in sometime in the next 5 minutes or so. So, Gabriella, meet Gary, and
Hi.
let's have a conversation.
It sounds great. Nice to meet you, Gabriella.
Nice to meet you as well, Gary. So, tell us a little bit about yourself. We've got a little introduction from Andy, but let's see a little bit more about what you do, why you do it, and what has inspired you to be in this particular field.
Well, I'm a mental performance coach. I work with athletes and business owners and leaders from every industry, unlocking their potential.
Yes. And what do you enjoy about this particular field?
Well, I don't think it's hard to say that we always enjoy watching people be successful. I like to say that I want the fruit of my life to grow on other people's trees. So helping
Oh,
them be successful is the most important and powerful thing I can do.
yes. And what would you say is one of the challenges you have, in this particular field, helping persons to, change their mindset or have that mindset shift? What is one of the challenges that you have faced in this field?
Yeah, well, it's actually kind of interesting. There's a notion that in order for you to really be at your next level, that you have to be sick and that you want to get better. And you don't have to be sick to want to get better at what you do. And so I think one of the misconceptions is that working with a coach like me is when you're not doing well. But when in fact, if you work with a professional athlete, they're already excellent at what they do, and you're hoping to be able to make them better because the best always want to get better. And so it's not just
Yes.
about helping people that feel broken or not doing well, but it's helping bring the best out of really good people and that are already good at what they do.
Oh, okay, great. So that's another dynamic. So you focus on making the best out of the best. That's a very interesting, really interesting concept. What would you say? What would you say was one of your challenge when you actually? What made you actually get into this field on a personal level? What made you choose this direction?
Well, coaching has always been part of what I like to do. It's been actually the system or the model that I like to use. And I was a pastor for 28 years. And so my primary model for helping people get better was coaching. And so instead of telling people how to live or what to do, I'd always enjoy saying, well, what do you think we should do? Like, how do we help this person get better? What kind of tools can I give them to help themselves get better? And so how do I put tools in their tool bag? And so that's been a huge model of mine in helping people get better. And so when I transitioned to a mental performance coach, I already feel like I had a lot of experience coaching people to be at their very
Right.
best. So, it's the same calling, just a different assignment.
And how has your personal mindset shaped your journey in addressing mental health challenges?
Well, identity is always a key issue. Like you behave and you think out of your own self-perception and who you think that you are. And so you act out your identity and the thoughts about yourself. And so for me, when I was a pastor for 28 years, I had a certain identity in the way that I thought about myself. And
Yes.
shifting to mental performance has been very different for me. So for example, when I was a pastor, you always want to be humble as a pastor and you want to be
Yes.
a little bit self-deprecating and show your faults and wounds like you're human, just like everybody else. But when you're a mental performance coach and you get asked to speak somewhere, you can't be all humble and, just thankful that you're in the room. Like you got to actually own that room. Like you got to command respect and command sort of your own presence. And so for me, that was a real shift and a real change. And it took me a while to figure that out, but eventually I was able to sort of figure it out. So at first I would try to be there, kind of stick my chest out and stand up straight and act like I talk. But I don't find that that was actually really helpful either. But now I can talk really calmly, but confidently. And I think the confidence piece is really important because if I don't stress test what I say and the tools that I use, then how can I teach them with any degree of
True.
confidence? And so I'm the one that has to stress test my own theories and what I teach. And
Yes.
when you begin to see that it works in people's lives, then you can have the confidence that what you're teaching actually does work. And so it's that confidence that drives your presence. And so I think confidence is necessary for whatever you're doing to succeed at a high level.
Yes, agreed. And what stood out for me there with what you just said is actually stepping out of your comfort zones. A lot of persons struggle in that arena where they get so comfortable in where they are at. And, you being able to step out and say, you know what, I'm going to pretend, yeah, I'm strong, I'm confident. And with over a period of time, you were able to execute and do what you needed to do. And sometimes that's all persons need sometimes, to just come out of the comfort zone. Yes, it's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to cause you to your heart going to palpitate. You're going to be like, oh my god, I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do this. But as soon as you step out there and you cross that threshold, you get to realize, you know what, I can't do this. So thanks for sharing that insightful knowledge there. That sometimes we need to step out of our comfort zones in
Yeah,
order for
and
things to happen.
yeah, I might suggest even different language than that. So I like to think about expanding my comfort zone. So once
Yes,
I expand it, I take new territory, and that becomes part of my suite of skills that I have. And so I
yes,
keep expanding my level of comfort as opposed to saying, okay, I'm stepping in, now I'm stepping out, now I'm stepping in, now I'm stepping out. But
right.
if I just expand my comfort zone and new territory, those things aren't so scary anymore.
Yes, expanding. Wow. I'm going to take that word too. Expanding your comfort zone rather than stepping in. Because, yeah, you may step in into one situation and step out, but when you expand, you continue to grow and you continue to develop. Yeah, so thank you very much. How would you define mindset and why is it so crucial for mental health?
Yeah, well, think of mindset like the thermostat in your home. It controls the temperature in every room. And when your mind is in the right place, it controls every domain or every room in your life. So, from a relationship to your job, to your social life, to your education, I mean, everything is affected by your mindset. And so, the mindset is the most important thing that you carry into your life because
Yes.
it is so powerful that it affects everything. And so when your mind is right, you can accomplish amazing things. So what I call mindset, and I think maybe the simple definition of mindset is a particular set of thoughts that drive behavior. So yeah, I think that that's true to some extent. But I would like to go even deeper than that. I think mindset comes from previous experiences that we've had. Say you've had a negative experience about something, and you
Yes.
can see how that would affect your mindset. So,
Yes.
especially if it was traumatic. So you have an experience that you have thoughts and feelings about. And because you have thoughts and feelings about that experience, and maybe when you were younger, you didn't really have control over the experience. Maybe you participated in it, or maybe it was done to you. We don't know, right? You might know. And so when you have that experience that you can have thoughts and feelings about, but you can always choose what your response is to a thought and a feeling. Especially as we get older, we get to choose our responses. And so I think it's really important to say, okay, well, how am I going to choose to respond to this difficult situation? So you have an experience that you have thoughts and feelings about, that you have a response to that creates a belief. And usually that belief is about yourself. So you can
Yes.
choose to respond a certain way that creates a belief about yourself, perhaps that I can overcome something. And then all of that together, the experience, the thoughts and the feelings, your response and your belief create a mindset. And
Yes.
that is how you create a mindset. Those are the ingredients of a mindset. But it doesn't end there. It actually has another part to it, which is a new mindset creates new behaviors, new and
Yes.
improved behaviors. And a new and improved behavior is actually a new experience. So you're circling back to the very beginning and you're now creating a new and improved experience that you have new and improved thoughts and feelings about, that you have new and improved responses to, that you have new and improved belief about yourself, and a new and improved mindset that results in a new and improved behavior, which is a new and improved experience. And so you cycle this in such a ways is, and it really guides us to how we build a mindset. And so the
Yes.
mindset really is about creating new experiences for ourselves that help us build the kind of mindset necessary to succeed.
Okay, and how would you? That's a lot of things you said there, and it might be easier said than done. How would you encourage someone who may have come from a traumatic experience, who or may have come from something that is negative and that has shaped everything that they have they have done going forward, how they live their life, how they think about things, how would you encourage someone to shift that mindset or come into that place of newness?
Well, can I explain it by telling you a story?
Sure.
So when I was in high school, I took a class called geotrig. I don't even know what geotrig is. It's like some type of algebra and physics. What
Yeah.
else? It was just geometry. It was very difficult, and I didn't belong in the classroom. I wasn't good at it, and I wasn't smart, and so I struggled the entire class. And so my teacher would make fun of me in because he didn't like athletes in the class, and so I was an athlete, and so he would make fun of me. He would say, "Gary, what did you get for question number 4?" And I would say, I don't know the answer," and so I would make something up. I would
Yeah.
say, "Oh, the answer is the square root of 412.61738," and the entire class would laugh, and I became a jokester. And
Yeah.
but I was embarrassed because I didn't know how to answer the question. And so how do you think I felt walking to that classroom 3 days a week? Oh, probably not very good.
Yeah.
So because knew I was going to be embarrassed, so
Embarrassed.
I
Yeah.
had a difficult experience where I was going to be embarrassed and made fun of by the
Yes.
teacher, and my thoughts and feelings about that were, oh man, I got to go to this class and be embarrassed today. I don't even want to go to the
Yes.
class. And my response was, because I didn't know how to handle it, was to be funny because I didn't know what to do. So I had a response. And the
Yes.
belief that I created about myself was, I'm not very smart. I'm not very, and I don't belong in school. I don't
Yes.
belong, definitely don't belong in this class. And so my belief was that I wasn't very smart. And the mindset I had was, I'm really not going to amount to much in my life. So I better get used to using my hands and with swinging a hammer or digging a ditch. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yes.
But
Nothing
my
wrong.
mindset was I wasn't smart enough to do anything. And so I think looking back, I think what one has to do is go back to that experience. And you have to sort of self coach yourself,
Yes.
right? You have to coach yourself and go back to that experience. And if you were invisible and you were to walk up to that desk, and if I was to whisper in my own ear, I would probably say something like this. I would say, Gary, it's okay that you're not good at geotrig. Okay, that's only one of 9 different kinds of intelligence, and
Yes.
geotrig is not yours. So there's linguistic intelligence, there's musical intelligence, there's spatial intelligence, there's emotional intelligence. There's all these different kinds of intelligence.
Intelligence. Yeah.
And you know what? One of mine was not physics and math. And so if I could whisper something in my ear, I would say, Gary, you're going to be smart at something else like psychology, but math is not your thing. And don't take this guy too seriously. Just sort of write it out. And had I have been able to say that to myself or have someone else say that to me, I think I would have had a very different mindset. And I actually almost didn't go to college because of it.
Right.
So I know
Oh.
that in when I started taking psych classes and in my education, I ended up graduating with my master's degree with high honors, but they didn't offer psychology in high school. So or philosophy. And so it was actually kind of heartbreaking in the moment because I didn't know that there were other options for me. So the mindset that we can actually train ourselves on is to go back to the experience and rethink or reframe our thoughts and feelings and reframe our response to that. But you kind of have to go back to the experience and not relive it, but just sort of coach yourself and kind of counsel and coach yourself and have a conversation with yourself about that experience.
Right, very good. Thanks so much for that very insightful, powerful story. And I'm sorry that you had to go through that, but it brought something beautiful out of the experience. It brought you to this place now where now you have that mindset as compared to before. And we have a lot of youth like that right now who may be going through that same experience, going through that same traumatic experience, don't want to be here. They're thinking they're not worthy, they're not smart, but you are a true living example that, what, if it is I could change the way I think about something and I look at other options, then my response is going to be different. So thank you so much for that. I think, Brother Andy, wants to join us. Yes. Yes. No problem. Yes. Yes.
Well, so there are a lot of people who don't like the word habits. And so if you have a negative relationship with the word habit, then you might not like that. But when people feel that way, I use the term rhythm. So what rhythms can you create in your life to put you in the best position to succeed? And so to me, you can't control outcomes. Like you can in baseball, you can throw the best pitch in the world, but it still get hit for a home run. And so you can create these rhythms in your life that put you in the best position to succeed. The outcome is not guaranteed, but you can put yourself in the best position to succeed. So, what daily habits or rhythms can you create in your life that put you in the best position to succeed? And because we're all different, we all might have different things. Like some people might listen to jazz music in the morning, or some people might like to have a quiet time in the morning. Some people might like to go for a walk in the morning. Some people might like to spend some time in prayer in the morning. So, whatever it is that puts you in the best position to succeed is what I recommend that you do. So, for example, if having a cup of coffee and sitting beside a fireplace first thing in the morning is one of your favorite things to do and it starts your day off right, then create that rhythm or that habit every single day. Do it without fail, because when you do, you put yourself in the best position to succeed. So for me, getting up at 3:45 a.m. and going to the gym is one of the ways that I put myself in the best position to have a good day. And whether I feel like it in the moment or not is of no consequence to me. Do it almost mechanically because I know that when I do, I'm better in almost every area of my life. And so getting 7 hours sleep for me is crucial. So that means I have to go to bed at 9 p.m., maybe sometimes even 8:30. But I determined that nothing good happens after 8:30 or 9 p.m. Anyway. I don't do anything productive. So why not sleep? Sleep is very productive. So I thought, because sleep is the best performance enhancing drug in the world, you operate so much better on 7 hours sleep than 2 hours sleep. And it's, every human being on the planet is the same way. So sleep is the secret weapon. So I would say, what are 5 or 7 things that you can do in your day that put you in the best position to succeed? So for someone like me, and this is what I call identity-based performance, because it's based on your identity. You're not operating out of your ambition on what you think you might want for yourself one day. And vision and ambition, there's nothing wrong with it. But the more stable fuel and the cleaner fuel is for you to operate out of your identity. So for me, getting 7 hours sleep a night is a rhythm. Eating well is a rhythm. Having quiet time, time in prayer and meditation and Bible reading, for me personally, that's part of my health. I'm the best person I can be when I'm doing that. When I have blue sky time, when I give myself time to dream and have a vision every single day, that puts me in the best position to succeed. When I quote my personal philosophy every day, is I putting myself in the best position to succeed. So you can come up with your own rhythms and you can
Yes.
do your own things, but these things actually change what I call my locus of control. So I'm in charge and I have full control over the things that put me in the best position to have a successful day. I am in control of them. So I have an internal locus of control. But most people operate their lives with an external locus of control. And so they determine the success of their day by what happens to them. When you do that, you're very vulnerable to the events and the circumstances of the day in relationship to maybe somebody says something wrong to you and you go off the handle. Listen, you know what? People say stuff all the time. Difficult things happen all the time. However, when I get to determine the success of the day by doing these 7 things, then I have a good day every day. And now I'm building momentum because I get to control all 7 of those things. And even if hard things and difficult things come my way, I'm in a far better position to be able to handle them well. So, yeah, I think it's really important to put yourself in the best position today. I call it stacking the deck with aces. Why not stack your deck with aces? Why not?
Why not? Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Well, if you're in leadership at any level, you experience depression yourself because leading is hard and you're put in lots of positions where you can't win, right? You can't make everybody happy. So you feel like
True.
you can't win. And if you put in enough of those situations, then you feel, honestly, to be really truthful and transparent, you feel like a victim to your circumstances. Like, God, you put me in this position. Sounds like Moses, right? You put me here, right? You fix the problem, but I'm not God. I can't fix the problem. If I could fix the problem, I would, but I can't. And so you're stuck in a lot of different situations that you can do very little about. People think, well, you're the leader. You've got all the power. You've got the authority. No, you know what? You don't. You really don't. You're
Wow.
not as in control as most people think you are. Well, you can make this decision or make that decision. You're like, nah, no, I can't. I can't fix that. I can't fix people. Only God can fix people, right? And so
True.
I think the when you feel like you're a victim longing enough, then you feel helpless to control your circumstance. And when you feel helpless long enough, then you feel hopeless. And if you feel hopeless long enough, you feel very discouraged. And if you feel very discouraged enough, you feel very depressed. And if you feel depressed long enough, you will feel suicidal, which is to feel numb to everything. Like there's no reason to go on. And I don't care anymore about my health or my well being or how much pain. I just don't care anymore. And so I
Yeah.
think we need to start from the very beginning and really make sure that we understand that we are not victims, that we do have agency, that we do have volition. We can decide things for ourselves, and we can choose to respond. As we talked about earlier, I can choose to respond to almost every situation in a way that is honoring to God and is empowering to myself. I don't have to be a victim. And even I don't have to be even a victim from God. Like you'll say, well, God put me in this position. He should fix it, right? Like, and when he doesn't, then I feel like he doesn't either care or he's not good. And what does that sound like in the book of Genesis? Right? And so we have to be careful to understand that God really does love us and that we are not victims. And he is always with us. And he says, even in First Thessalonians 5:8, that we can continually pray about everything and that we can bring everything to him and he cares for us. So yeah, depression is very real. Sometimes it's biologically or neurochemically, inclined and brought on, and we have to respect that some people do biologically, biochemically struggle with depression. Other times people are depressed because they've made a lot of bad decisions, and one of the best antidepressants in the world is make better decisions. If somebody said to me, well, I'm in my room all day and I'm, on my computer screen and or on my phone and I don't really have a meaning or a purpose and whatever. I'm just like, well, yeah, I'd be depressed too if I was you. Like, what would you
Yeah.
seriously? What else would you expect, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
make better decisions about your life. And that sounds very disrespectful to people who really do struggle with depression, but you need to take a hard look at the way that you're living your life. For example, if we talk about, I call it winning the day, those seven rhythms, that's called win the day. If you put yourself in a position to succeed every day and you did the seven things that put you in the best position to succeed, you might not be depressed. You might say, well, it's really hard to get out. Yeah, you know what? Maybe you need to take some medication. Maybe you need to go see your doctor. I don't know what the case is, but I know that the way that you're choosing to live your life, man, I think you need to make better decisions. And I'm not saying that's easy to do. I'm not saying it's fun. I'm not saying it's simple. But there are times when it is biochemical. Sometimes it is life circumstance. When you have major disappointments in your life, like the death of a loved one or a major maybe you've had to move or make like major transitions. If you stack major events that are negative in your life, yeah, you can tend to feel depressed, and rightly so. But it doesn't mean that we have to stay there. That we can move. And the best thing I can possibly tell someone is, listen, anxiety is the over preoccupation with the past or the future. And so we need to learn to live in the present moment and be who we are. But I would say if you want to get over difficult in your life, man, tell you what, there's four directions that you can look at when you're the driver of a vehicle. You can look at your side view mirrors, and we want you to glance at those. We don't want you to gaze at where you are. We want you to just take a glance. You can look at the rear view mirror, which is the past and where you've been. But you cannot drive the vehicle of your life gazing at the rearview mirror. You have to look through the windshield. And so if you're asking me, like, how do you get over challenges and difficulties? You look through the windshield and you look at what's next in your life.
Wow.
Well, what people do is they ruminate over things, right? And then ruminate is an agricultural term for chewing your cud. And so, like a cow will bring up its food again and chew
Yeah.
on it. And you can't keep bringing things up and chewing on it forever. Like you have to move forward, no matter how painful that is. And we do want you to process the past, but you can't gaze in that rearview mirror. Well, so last night I had the privilege of teaching at a college here in Seattle, and I was working. Yeah, right. Yeah, so I had the privilege of working at Edmonds College in the Seattle area here last night, and I was talking to one of the teams, and it's interesting. There's a difference between discipline and being highly disciplined with your life, and sacrifice. So discipline is about playing the long game. If you do the right things long enough, success is inevitable. You will be successful. Okay. Maybe
Yes.
not in the ways you always think you will be, but you will be successful. So that's discipline. But there are times when you must sacrifice. And what those players have that a lot of other players don't is that they learned how to sacrifice. And so, is there a high cost? Yeah, sacrifice is high cost. Discipline is great and it's important. I'm not saying that. I'm not even saying that sacrifice is the next step. There are times when you need to be disciplined, and there are times when you need to sacrifice if you want to be as good as a world champion. So I call it the illusion of choice. If you want to be average at something, you have many choices. Imagine going to a restaurant and looking at everything on the menu. You can choose anything that you want. You want a hamburger, you have a hamburger. If you want cheesecake, you have cheesecake. If you want French fries and a Coke, you have. If you want to be average, everything's on the menu. If you want to be good at what you do, you have fewer choices. If you want to be good at nutrition, you have fewer choices. Okay. You only pick some things on the menu. But what if you want to be elite? How many choices do you have? Very few. You have no choice. This is what you're going to eat. And I think one of the misconceptions about, and actually, it's a way for us to adjust our own expectations. We can't expect to be a champion and have all these choices. It's incompatible. That lifestyle is incompatible. So if you want to be excellent at what you do, you have no choice. There's a certain way you got to live your life.
Gary, you only hitting us for six tonight, boy. It's deep. Okay, so let's continue with Gary Chubik. Let's have a little more. I know I want to get a little deeper. Yes. So those who struggle with, having that fixed mindset, there are a lot of persons who are fixated, and is a real challenge to get them, to even open up to this new way of thinking, or this positive way of thinking, or this shift in mindset. How would you encourage, or what advice would you give to those persons who are so fixated in their thoughts?
Well, we have to admit something. I mean, there was a book written about the growth mindset and the fixed mindset by Carol Dweck. And the reality is it's easy to work with someone who's motivated. It's easy
Yes.
to work with them. Like, it's so easy because they want to get better. So they are taking in everything that you say and they are applying it. And it's easy to coach them. It's easy to lead them. You
Yes.
almost have to say nothing and they are so motivated. But when you're working with someone with a fixed mindset, there's a determining factor. Number one is, do they want to get better? Because if they don't want to get better, then the conversation is over. Okay, it's already over. But if they
Wow.
have a fixed mindset and they say, "Yeah, I just don't know how," then that's a different conversation. So if someone says, "I want to get better, but I don't know how," and I have a fixed mindset, then that's where the work of a really great mental performance coach or a coach comes into play. Because I think that the identity based mental performance is the key. Because if I try it and take something that worked with another client and then transpose it onto this new client and say, well, this is what they did, you should do that too, that's not going to work. What is
True.
going to work, though, however, is if I tap into who their identity is and I find out a couple different things. Like, number one, I would say this is that every high performer, whether you have a fixed mindset or a growth mindset, every high performer knows who they are. So they are keenly aware of their identity and their personality and their character traits. That's the first thing. The second thing is they know what they want. How do you help somebody who doesn't know what they want? If they don't know what they want, it's impossible to help them. You know why? It's because they won't do the work necessary in order for them to solve the problem or figure it out. They won't do it because they don't know what they want. So the word decision means to, in Latin, to cut away. So they have multiple choices and they need to make a decision or cut away the other options. And so I need to decide what you want to cut away. And if you're not aware of what you want to cut away, you won't make that sacrifice because you're like, well, I just feel like I'm losing something. You're right. You are losing often. You're right. But you have to decide what you want. So every high performer, whether they have a fixed mindset or growth mindset, they have to know who they are. They have to know what they want. Number three, they need to know why they want it. So you have to figure out your why. And what's interesting about this is Simon Sinek wrote a book that says start with why. But I got to tell you a secret. It always ends with who. Who do you want to do? Do you want to do it for your mother, for your father, for your spouse, for your children, for your grandparents, for a loved one? You want to do it for yourself. You have to figure out who your who is. So start with why, but end with who. So it's know your identity, know what you want, know why you want it, and number four, you got to figure out how badly you want it. Like you can say you want something, but if you're not willing to sacrifice for it or cut away things for that thing, listen, iron sharpens iron, but only at the right angle.
Only at the old.
Is solving a problem and knowing what you want. And so you got to figure that out for yourself. So what's the right angle?
And how can people stay resilient, when they are faced with setbacks with their mental health?
Well, resilience is an outcome. It's not something that you gain instantly. It's putting into practice multiple mental health performance tools so that you can have the outcome of resilience. And so there's mental tools, there's psychological tools, there's environmental control. I call it the environment, right? You got to create an environment in your home that puts you in the best position to succeed. If I'm going to put potato chips all in my environment and sweets in my environment, then I'm probably not going to succeed. I'm not that strong mentally if I'm staring at chips and candy all day long. So, environment, there's multiple things that we need to do to build our tool bag so that we can have the outcome of resilience.
Wow. That is super deep. It is super, super, super deep indeed. Thank you so much for sharing that. In what ways do you think culture or the societal stigma plays when it comes to the impact on how mental health affects persons?
Well, I think our culture has it wrong. Um, I mean, I'm convinced we have it wrong. I think there's two parts to mental health. Number one is what we're doing right now with mental health, which is kind of like a training room. Like think of like an athletic facility where people are getting bandaged up, people are stretching, people are getting ice packs on their ankles. That's mental health.
Yes.
But mental performance is like walking by the gym and getting stronger. And I think we have a culture who is constantly playing defense, which is just mental health. They're constantly playing defense, but they're never playing offense, which is getting in the mind gym so that you can get stronger. And so you have to build those mental and emotional muscles so that you can avoid an ankle break or an ankle sprain or a pulled muscle. When you are stronger, you're capable of so much more. So you can't always just talk about mental health without talking about mental performance. Don't you want your children to get stronger mentally and emotionally? Don't you want the people
Yes.
around you to be able to resist hardship and be strong? Yeah, of course you do. But all we ever teach in culture is mental health, and it doesn't go far enough to mental performance.
Wow. So I've learned something there. So we need to go a little deeper, Andy. We need to go a little deeper than just being aware, being self aware about it, but we need to actually go and do, and sometimes persons may be that discouraged to actually take that step. Some persons, would have um, had trust issues. They would have confided and they may have leaned to persons or places that they thought, would give them that mental performance, but they were disappointed. How would you encourage someone in that arena?
Yeah, I mean, none of us are superhuman. We all need each other, right? We're not
Yes.
independent, we're interdependent. And that's the way God made culture. God didn't make culture and society by making individuals. We're all interdependent. And what great power you and I have
Yeah.
to affect other people's wellness. And so when we use our power for God's glory, we affect the entire world. And I think it really starts with us, like we're the core. But then it moves out from us into our significant relationships in our life and then into our home. And then once we have a really healthy home, we can affect this different circles or social environments that we're in, like a school or a club or a group or a church or whatever it is, or where we work. And then once we have health there, then we can affect our community. And once that's affected, we can affect our city and region and state and country. And so we misdiagnose the problem. The problem we have in our culture is a heart problem. We don't, we do have a homelessness problem. We do have a mental health problem. We have all types of problems. But if we misdiagnose the core issue, we will always give the wrong remedy for the issue. And those remedies have side effects. And so ultimately, we have a heart problem in our culture, a heart problem. And until we face that, and until we take a hard look at ourselves, what did Jesus tell the guy that was walking, walking with him? What did he say to Peter? Peter, as for you, you follow me. You worry about you, Peter. You had a lot on your plate, right? Don't worry about somebody else when you say, well, what about him? As for you, you follow me. And so I think we have to follow God and we have to take personal responsibility for that in our own lives and not point our finger at other people. So, do we have homelessness? Do we have mental health? Do we have income disparity? Do we have economic problems? We have, those are all problems. But I'm telling you, the core problem is a heart problem. We are body, mind, soul,
So,
and spirit. That's what we are. And until we deal with the heart issue, the core issue that makes up those four things, we'll never get ahead as a society. We'll always give the wrong medicine for the wrong problem.
wow. So, with that being said, what are some things you think are some misconceptions that persons have when it comes to this whole idea of mindset and mental health? What is some of the misconceptions you would have experienced or heard from persons when it comes to this topic?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm from Canada originally, so I'm a dual citizen of America and Canada. And like, for example, we would have safe injection sites. So we're saying, well, we have a drug problem in our country, and so let's create injection sites where at least we can monitor. So we'll actually hand out stuff, hand out drug paraphernalia, and and then it becomes easily accessible, and we you know I mean, to me, it's insanity you know. But many of our officials don't want that around their home, but they would like to have it around your home or in the downtown area. But they don't want to travel down those streets, right? And so the hypocrisy, it doesn't make a good leader. And another example would be legalizing marijuana. Now, I understand that there is medical use for marijuana, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But to legalize it casually is insanity. And so now we feel like, and you might say, well, Gary, how can you say that? Well, listen, nobody ever confided in a teacher or a school principal and say, hey, what is the effect that marijuana is going to have on your school? And if you talk to a principal and they're honest, they will say marijuana is a huge problem in our elementary school. We have kids dealing marijuana in elementary schools and in junior schools. What if you talk to your local police station and the police chief? Would they say that marijuana had a positive effect on things as in making our culture better? No, no one ever confided in them. It was just a political issue. What about your local hospital? What would your hospital say about the legalization of marijuana? Would there be a good outcome with that? Well, of course not. So what we're doing is we're ignoring the people that actually have to deal with the issues in instead of and in place of, well, you have a personal freedom to be able to do this. Yeah, but what if the personal freedom causes great chaos in our culture? And so the answer is to create safe injection sites or legalize marijuana. I don't think so. I don't see it. And so when we don't let leaders lead in our culture and we let the popular sentiment of our day lead, that's not leading. That's very, very short-sighted and selfish. So yeah, you can call me a little bit you know, forceful about this thing. But when you're a leader and you have to deal with stuff, you have some pretty strong opinions about what's healthy and what's not healthy for our culture.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that. So I'll hand over to Brother Andy. I don't have any more questions at this point. Andy, do you have any more questions that you would like to ask Gary as we continue with the program? It is not enough time. It's not enough time.
Yeah, bring on the questions. I'm ready. I've got the right mindset. I'm ready. Yeah, there's a couple of responses I have to that. So, number one is that when you pick up your phone first thing in the morning, you are conditioning yourself to react to social media. So, instead of being proactive and deciding how you want to live your life, you instantly condition yourself to react instantly, whether it's a like or a post or whatever it is, or see the way that other people live their lives. You're constantly reacting. And so you're creating an environment of simply reacting, and you do nothing about it. All that you do is you just take it in, and you have a reactive mindset. And so one of the things I like to tell my clients is the first hour of the day, don't pick up your phone. Okay. Because now you're saying, okay, well, what do I want? What do I want to do? And knowing what you want is a muscle that you can exercise. But a lot of us say, like, hey, I'm chill. I don't have to decide things. I could do this. I could do that. I'm not, I'm not real forceful about anything. Listen, that's just lazy. Not knowing what you want is lazy. And so I would say, don't pick up your phone for the first hour. Condition and train yourself to know what you want and who you are. Be comfortable in your own skin. Be comfortable with silence. Be comfortable with not doing anything. Beautiful things happen when you're quiet and you're not doing, on social media, and you're just like being bored is really healthy. And we these days we entertain ourselves, but we don't rest. So we have to learn how to rest. And when you're rested, you're a much different person. Being on your phone and watching Netflix or social media is not resting. That is entertaining yourself. So it's very different. So I that is probably the one of the most important things. And I'd also say that that figuring out who you are and what you want in life can determine a lot of your actions. And I teach it this way: there's what you want and what you really want, and you have to know the difference. What you want might be, like for me, is I love to smoke meat. Like I have a smoker, like a barbecue. I love to smoke meat. And if someone was to say, Gary, what do you want? I would say, well, I'd like to smoke meat, drink a Coke, watch the football game on TV, and do nothing. That's what I want. But if you were to ask me, Gary, what do you really want? I would say, I want to have a generational impact in people's lives. So you have to decide the difference between knowing what you want and what you really want. Because the vast majority of people that I know spend their time on what they want. So they want the Coke, the pizza, the smoking meat, the playing golf, the game on the weekend, whatever it is that, and they spend 90% of their energy on what they want and 10% on what they really want. But if you could flip that and spend 90% of your life chasing after what you really want, your life would look very, very different.
Wow. Life has a way of throwing challenges at us, whether it's emotional struggles, difficult decisions, or simply feeling stuck. But what if there was a place where you could find not just solutions, but also the tools to create a brighter, more confident future? That's what Gabriella's Double Impact Solutions is here for. Our tagline is mentoring minds, empowering lives. It's more than just words, it's the heart of what we do. We combine counseling to help you heal and process life difficulties with mentorship that offers practical guidance for your personal growth and future success. It's about building strength for today and clarity for tomorrow. We also understand that everyone's journey is different. That's why we offer both secular counseling and faith based counseling grounded in Christian principles for those who desire a spiritual foundation in their healing process. No matter your preference, we meet you where you are. At Gabriella's Double Impact Solutions, mental health is our priority because we know it's the foundation for everything else. Whether you're navigating personal challenges, seeking direction in your career, or striving to build emotional resilience, we are here to help you strive. Solutions, healing, and a future filled with purpose. And that's what you'll find at Gabriella's Double Impact Solutions. Visit us today at www.gabriellasdoubleimpact.com to start your journey because we are mentoring minds, empowering lives. Let's grow together. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so I've experienced burnout a couple times myself, and it's very challenging. And separating the personal from the professional, I'm not sure I ever did that very well. I used to tell people one of the ways that pastors get in trouble is they take off their pastor hat, and so they think, well, I can do, I can have a moral failure or commit some sin in the dark, right? Well, you never get away with anything ever. It always is. There's always an attack on your soul, whether you're private, whether you're public, and so accept it. I decided that I was a warrior and I would sleep with my armor on all the time because when I woke up, life was a battle. When I went to sleep, life was a battle. And I just decided taking it off and on was too difficult all the time. So I decided to sleep with my armor on. So for me personally, while there is the separation that's necessary, I think just having, in my view, I think there's something called the leadership pyramid, and has five different levels, maybe six, but five for sure. And the bottom level is self leadership, your ability to lead yourself, care for yourself. I teach something called the SFO principle. It means self for others. You take care of yourself so well so that you can love the other people around you. So if you go to bed and you only get 2 hours sleep, you're not very kind and loving to the people around you. At least I'm not. And so one of the kindest, most loving things that you can do for other people is to take care of yourself and to get enough sleep. And we think, well, others first, others first, others first. Yeah, yeah, maybe. But if you kill the golden goose, you don't get any more eggs. And so we have to take care of you. And your ability to take care of yourself is the most loving thing that you can do for other people. So that bottom layer is self leadership. And you have to lead yourself really well. And when you do that, then you can go to couple leadership, which means a second person, right? So you can coach or mentor or be involved in a healthy relationship where you are an example to somebody. The third level is group leadership. And when you lead yourself well, and when you can lead another person, then you can lead a group. And part of the reason is because if you're a group leader, we want you to be able to have a protege so that they can start another group and multiply those groups. So then you get the group leadership. And if you do that well, and it's a big if you do that well, then you can go to area or department leadership. And a department or an area is like a group of groups. And so you need to know how to lead a group before you can lead a group of groups. And then finally, organizational. And if you don't take care of yourself at the self leadership level, you will send stress fractures up the entire pyramid. Your ability to care for yourself and lead yourself can either make or break an organization, a church, a business, or any type of community group. So, yeah, taking care of yourself is crucial, but you got to prove your way up the pyramid. And if you skip one level, you will be sorry.
Wow. Yes.
And that is to experience it yourself. The only way that you can gain confidence is by proving things to yourself. There is no other way. Everything else is what I call faux confidence. It's not real, right? It's plastic. But when you prove things to yourself, then you can say, well, I wonder if I can kind of push the boundary a little bit again. And you say, well, what reasons do I have to be optimistic that I can do that? Well, I did this, that I can do that. So if you do 5 push-ups, tomorrow you do 6. Why do you think that you can do 6? Because you did 5 the previous day. Can you do one more? Yeah, probably. I remember starting at 10 push-ups one time, and I thought if I could do 10 push-ups a day, I would be just so happy. And then I did 11 push-ups, and then the next day I did 12. Could I have done 20? Maybe, but I just decided to do one at a time. And I got to a point where I was doing 350 push-ups a day because I did one more every single day. So you build that endurance and you build that. Why could I do 350? Because I did 349. Could I do one more? Sure, I could. And that's how you become amazing.
Yes, so thank you. Thank you so much, Gary. It was a pleasure having you on the program tonight on breaking out of depression with our topic mental health and the challenge of mindset. We thank you for taking your time to share so much knowledge and so much experience on this great topic. We know that the persons who are listening, I hope that you were blessed and that you were able to gain all the answers and all the things that was executed out of this program. Yes, and we hope that that you put your mindset and your mental health as your top priority going forward. Because if we don't take care of ourselves, then we can't take care of others. So I just want to thank you on behalf of our host, Andy Charles, and myself, Gabriella Woods, for joining us on our episode of Breaking Out of Depression. Until then, we would see you next week. Have a good night. Bye for now.
There ain't got no way I'm gonna make it without my Lord. No, ain't got no way I'm gonna make it it without my Lord. No, ain't got no way I'm gonna make it without my Lord. No, ain't got no way I'm gonna make it without my Lord. Trouble in my way, but daily hear me say, ain't got no way, ain't got no way, ain't got no way, ain't got no way. The harvest is plenty, Lord, but the workers are so few.